So, welcome back, guys. So here we are looking at oopsies. We're looking at chapter 4, okay? Chapter 4 is going to be viewing on how the appearance of the Excel sheet would look like, okay? So this is where you get to bring in your creative ideas, or if you want to something to look better or look nicer, this is where you're going to be able to have fun and change all the things that you want to go through. So for this one, I believe the first section is going to be looking at changing fonts, changing colors, and then the next section is going to be looking at themes that the Excel offers us. And then lastly, formatting cells. Okay, so that's very important that we understand formatting cells, because that is very crucial when we're looking into accounting, especially because most of our data that we want to appear is going to either be in currency, or it's going to be in accounting, or it's going to, if you prefer, you can have it comma style. Now let's go ahead and dive right into the very first section, is looking at the different fonts, different fonts, different colors, and different options that you have when you're dealing with the exercise. So here I have the exercise out right here. We have things such as call volumes and whatnot. Now it's already bolded, and I'm gonna go ahead and change that real quick. I'm gonna, oh wait, hold on. I think I need to, it's not letting me allow to. All right, let's do another one then. So this one is going to allow me to do this. Oh, this is mine. Let me go ahead and find my workbook real quick, the one that allows me to change the settings. Okay, so this one allows me to change. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and maximize my screen so I can see everything that is included. So again, we're going to be mainly focused on this part right here. So we're going to be on the home screen, right? Here's where you can change your font size, the color of your font, whether you want the cells to be filled in with a color, if you want to add borders, make them underline, italicize, or bold, okay? Now there also was a, it's not in here, but if you go into Word, you have the little strike through option. Now if I were to double click, if I were to go into, let me see, the customize ribbon, or just to look at the font itself, you should be able to look at all the things that you can do as far as that. But everything is pretty much straightforward as far as like changing the fonts and changing the sizes. So in this case, all of these are, so the title here is in bold. I want it underlined as well. Okay, now you're not going to be able to see the underline very clearly due to the lines in the boxes, but that's okay. I want to change it to, you know, whether I want to bold it to make it more clear, make it more visible, or if I wanted to, I can even change the font. So again, you have the capabilities to pick and choose what font works for you or what looks nice to you. Now, all of these things that I'm showing you today is mainly towards presentation, okay? So again, presentation. It's not super important to accounting unless you are, maybe you're creating a folder or a portfolio, or, you know, you're just creating documents to present to other people. So yes, you definitely want to make it look nice. By doing that, this is where you can learn to find all this stuff. So here I just resized it. If I really wanted to, I can make it as big as, you know, whatever the size that I want it to be. But see, that's a little too big. Now what these two icons means is it just resizes them. So the one on the left side is going to make it bigger. the one on the right side is going to make it smaller. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Bold, italicized, and underlined is pretty straightforward. It's whether if you want to, have a specific text be stood out, or you want them to, just to stand out, then you would manipulate it that way. You can change it there. Okay. Now, one thing you have to do is you need to have the active cell around it in order to change the things that you want. You can also select and highlight all of the information and be able to change all of them at the same time. Okay? So that's what's cool. Let's say I want to change these into a font color that I like. I want to change it to this this nice blue here. I'd be able to do that. Okay? And well, it just went, it changed back. I guess I didn't select it. There you go. Okay? So that's pretty much stylistic wise. That's what you can do. But I think the most important thing that you want to know as far as using these kind of functions is definitely understanding how to bold and how to underline. And the last one is going to be creating borders. Okay. The fill tool is useful if you found an error in your work and you want to highlight it so you know exactly where to look up for instance, like let's say so let's say for the package delivery, right? Atlantic, okay? So we see that Atlantic's this one. Let's say this number is actually wrong, right? I'm going to go ahead and click and highlight it, and I'm going to select it as yellow just so that I can confirm and double confirm that this is correct, okay? So that's only one way of using it. So this is more or less like a highlighter if you want to think about it. And you too also have many colors that you can choose from. You don't need to choose yellow. Yellow is usually the default one. Most common accounting would normally use the yellow to highlight something because it's really bright, especially when you're contrasting against white background. So yeah, so that's one of the more important key features is understanding how to fill in cells to highlight some details. Now, of course, let's say you did fix the information and it's correct now and you want to fix it back. What you're going to do is you're going to go back into the highlighter and you're just going to click no fill. And that will change it and format it exactly how you had it before. Now, going back to the borders, borders is very, very important, okay? This is how you can create your tables without creating tables, right? This is aesthetically, making the table more visible in a sense where you don't need to have colors in it. It's based on just like doing a regular black and white background, okay? So for example, let's say I need to make separations between this entire box right here. So what I can do is I can use the border feature and I can choose between all borders. Do I only want the right side? Do I want all sides? So if I do that, as you can see, it entered this little black line around all the information here. Now, if I really wanted to, I can make it thicker around the outside. Okay, it just depends on what kind of border you want to be doing when we're looking into our information. So again, if I want a thick border, I have a thick border around it now. Okay, it just makes the appearance of the table look nicer without actually creating a table. Okay, so this just gives it an outline. Now, what you can do is actually, if you are looking into maybe designing the outline, What you can do is you can go ahead and go into more borders. And what you can do is you can look at what kind of styles of borders you want. You can have dashed borders. You can have thick, really thick borders. You can also even determine how thick you want the border to be. Okay, and what these things on the side right here is going to show you an example of exactly what you want. So do you want no borders? Did you only want the top to have a line? Did you want the bottom to have a line? Did you want to have the left side have a line or a right side, okay? Or did you want to have nothing in the middle? If you want it quick and easy, just click all of it and it will create the border for you. So this is us customizing what the border and how I want it to look like. And then I can also choose the line too. Let's say I want to choose the dash line and I want it right here. It will show me a little preview of how this box is going to look with the features that I choose to include. Now, not only that, as you can see, all of the information, so everything that you see in this little border here under font, you can also change it here. All right, you have font right here, so you can change how you want the font setting to be. You can fill in the box if you want to, and then lastly, you can fix your borders for whatever you want to. You can also do the alignment tool, okay? So this is where you're formatting everything as is in one section. So this is when you can, if you already have an idea of what you want and you want to apply it to all of this stuff, this is where you're going to go into this kind of setting. But here, Excel allows you to do quick access things with little icons here. So again, if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to merge this together, right? Now it's in the middle. I want it left aligned, okay? So that's the great thing about Excel is it gives you quick, easy access tools. Instead of having to set it up manually, you're able to just go ahead and go in here and just select all the little icons that you want. Now, if you hover over the icon, it will tell you exactly what you're looking at. But for most cases, if you don't really know, it's actually really cool that you can manipulate and just go ahead and play around and just click every single icon, even if you don't know what they mean or what they represent, because this is going to be stylistic, okay? It's just based on your preference on how you want the information to look. So I've already created my table here and I've already bolded all my information and whatnot. So yes, the very most important thing that you want to do, especially when we're doing accounting, is we're going to be using the basic black and white tables. So understanding how to use borders is also very important because it will allow us to, create our little data all nice and neat. Now, also when you print it, for example, if we were to print this entire worksheet, we're going to notice that this is not going to be in a box. It's going to just be floating data. Where this one, since we put borders on it, it's going to appear as an actual table. So again, these are just stylistic differences and what you can do for this. Okay. Now, last thing that we're going to be second thing we're going to be looking at is going to be themes. Okay, so let me see how we want to do. So styles is going to be what it's called, and basically it's just going to apply a theme that that you want to. For example, we have a bunch of themes. If we go into styles, you can look at cell styles and it will show you what kind of themes that there are. So if you are the kind of person that likes to be very organized or likes visual aesthetics, this is definitely the section for you. Now, for me, I like my kind of style is I want something quick and I want something easy. So I go for the black and white. I don't care too much for the colors. But, you know, if you are an accountant and you're just thinking this is so boring to look at, then go ahead and add these aesthetic appeals. Okay, so for styles, right? Let's say I want to make this I want to change the style of this exact table. And I want to do it with the blue one. I can choose whether to do light blue. This is blue. It's like a nice navy turquoise blue. And then this one is like a nice blue with white fonts. So again, you want to just go ahead and look over here and go ahead and explore what you want to see, okay? And these are also customizable, okay? So again, you can customize these styles if you would like to. You can either change them all to be all orange. You can change them to be filled in gray. So as you can see, all of these things are preset styles. They were built by Microsoft. Okay, these are preset styles. Now you can apply it to these. You know, check it out what you want to do. Okay, when you insert a table, actually, it will also give you options at the top to what kind of stylistic you want to make the table look like. And again, all of these can be created using the font section right here. Okay, again, we can create our own. So just to if you don't like any of the stylistics, or maybe you like something from there, but you didn't want a certain feature, again, you can click on it and change it. But you can also create your own in case there's a color that you don't like, or there's a color that you want instead. You could go ahead and go in here. If you explore more colors, there's a little color wheel that you can choose, color scheme. So let's say if I want my table to be like this bright pink, I'd be able to just select the bright pink and be able to apply that to my table. Okay, but in this case, I'm just gonna go for a nice. Let's go for a nice. Let's go for a nice dark pink like that. Okay, and I'm gonna click okay, and it changed my whole entire table to be like that. Okay. Now again, it's based on visual aesthetics. If you don't like any of it, or you just want to be very plain, you could go ahead and just keep it plain and simple, black and white. All right. It makes it easier to see, and that way it doesn't, if you're staring at the computer for too long, your eyes won't hurt as bad as if you just do regular black and white. Okay. So those are pretty much what chapter 4 is really introducing you. It's just those kind of stylistic things, okay? One thing I do want to also add in as well is they do show you how to do, they also show you how to use a few things. Now, for example, okay, so let's say I don't want to use a style. And the one thing that I used here, I liked. So for example, I liked using this blue color right here. Now, if you're the kind of person that likes to switch in between colors left and right and whatnot, and you're changing your colors often, and you tend to forget what color you selected. So I selected this one, but let's say I forgot what I used. So I selected this one, and I noticed that color is definitely not the same. So what you can do is you can use a little neat feature called the paint tool. So as you can see, this little icon right here is going to be your format painter. So let's say I want to get this exact blue color. I'm going to go ahead and select that cell of the color that I want, and I'm going to click this copy painting. And I'm going to select the cell right below it, and I want it to copy that exact color on there. So boom. If you notice, it changed it back to that blue color. So let's make it a little more noticeable again. So let's say I have that as black, right? If I were to select the color that I like and use the copy tool, I can change that blue font into, that black font into the exact color I applied before. Okay, so this is a little neat feature in case you don't like the styles that they offer you. You created something but you forgot what color you used. You'd be able to apply anything that you've done beforehand and apply it using the copy painter tool, the formatting painter tool. Okay. So that's a little cool, nifty, cool thing I think is pretty cool. Okay. So again, this is all about, aesthetic portfolios, is in case you're presenting to somebody. But again, if you're just sitting around just doing nothing, you don't have to do anything unless you want to. Okay. Especially when you're doing this. So again, if I wanted to, I can copy this and I can create a table. Okay, and it's going to ask me for these ranges, and I say, okay, if you don't like this blue, if you go right at the top, you're going to see that they have preset table color schemes that you can apply. If you want red, if you want this green color, and if you want to select more, you can go ahead and go into this little drop-down menu, and you can go ahead and hover over just to see what you think is aesthetically pleasing to you. Now, again, I do like this black and white one here. I can do a simple black and white one like this one, like my original one. I can do orange, okay? So this one is more for again, aesthetic pleasures. So again, you'd be able to, if you are creating a table, you'd be able to choose the styles that are preset for you. Okay, but I kind of like this one. If you want to be real basic, you could go for this one, or even you could go ahead and just look at just regular what do you call it? Regular tables that don't have any much color. So I do like this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and select that one. Okay. So that is what is cool about that. Now, another key feature that's actually, let me see if I can pull up the sheet that I'm looking for. So it's got the percentage. So I'm going to go ahead and open up dashboard real quick in the files. So chapter 4. And I believe it's called dashboard. Okay, so there is another neat feature that I want you to look at. Oh, I'm already in it. I am so dumb. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm already in dashboard. So, so I've made a few stylistic changes. Now there's this one cool feature that I want you to do, and this is called conditional formatting. Now, what does that even mean? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at it. Okay, if I were to go to conditional formatting, you're going to be seeing a few things that you want to look at. So what it's going to do is it's going to take your information and it's going to add some color or add like a miniature graph in it to display some kind of condition. Okay, so what does it mean? What does it mean? So for example, right, if I wanted my cells to be highlighted in blue if it meets a certain criteria, let's say for example, my percentage value for on my left side for my what is it, package exceptions, right? So for the package exception rate, I want it to turn green when it is at least 0.1 0.02%, something like that, right? I can actually apply the neat feature for it to be able to display that information for me without having to go through every single one and look up the information. Okay, so what the book shows you is it shows you three things. Now, there's obviously a lot more that you can access to, but the book only shows you three main, I guess, the three main conditional formatting that you can use as a stylistic appeal to your worksheet. So we have color. We have if we look here, we have highlight cells. So that is what I was talking about. If you were to highlight the cells and you only want a specific particular piece of information to pop up or be highlighted, you're gonna use that. Okay. The second one is going to be top to bottom rules. Okay, so what that's going to do is it's going to take your information and let's say I want it to be ordered in a certain sort. That's what it's going to do. It's going to highlight your top and highlight your bottom. Okay. The next one is called data bars. Okay, so what data bars is, it's going to show you a little data bar in each cell. It's going to fill in a little tab right there for you, and it's going to show you an example, based on percentage or based on what the criteria is. It's going to show you like a little graph, okay? Color scales is going to be like, for example, if the highest number is 10 and your lowest number is 1, the grading scale is going to give you each one, and it's going to darken as you get higher, or it's going to lighten as you get lower. So that's a pretty cool, neat feature, especially when you're looking into quality control. All right, and then the last one that they also show you is called an icon set. So what that does is it gives you little icons that appear in your cells, and it's going to show you like whether you have the options, whether you want to say if it meets a certain criteria. If it's a yes, highlight it green or show appear it's green. If it doesn't meet the criteria, if it's no, then go ahead and give me the red light. So that's what's really cool about that. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the three that are in the book. So I believe the first one is going to be data bar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this information right here. And I want to do the conditional formatting where I'm doing data bar. Okay. And I believe it says to use the second one. So if I were to do that, see how it shows me like it fills in as if the data bar, as if the column itself is 100%. Or 1%, whatever you put the description as. As you can see, the smaller the percentage, the less the box is being filled. So that is what data bar does for you as far as visual appearance. Okay, it fills in each column or each cell as if it's like a bar itself. Right? Like it's like a battery, right? It's telling you that, oh, you're 50% full. Okay? So think of it that way. All right? So that is one cool feature that the data conditional formatting for data bar does for you. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and show you a second one where we're going to do color scheming. Okay? Or color scale. And I believe they say to use the orange one, but I think I want to use something I mean, they're not very pretty either way, but I want to say I want to choose this. Now, of course, if you don't like the colors, you can definitely change the colors. So here is red, white, and blue. So here, I'm assuming, red is going to be the low one. blue is going to be the high one, and white is just going to be right in the middle. Okay, so here if I use color scheming, okay, it shows me that anything that is 1,900 is going to be highlighted in blue. Anything that is anything that's in between 1,800 to 1,600 is going to be white. And as you can see, as it gets closer to the one million, it's starting to become pink. So it's starting from blue and it gradually becomes pink to red. Okay, so that's what color scheming can do for you. It can show you your information, especially like if you're dealing with your customers, right? You can use this to see who owes you the most money, right? Because then you're going to be the one that's going to want to go after them, so then they can pay you back as soon as possible, okay? Or you could use this to see which bill needs to be paid like first. Okay, that's a very good example. You can highlight and do use color scheme, so you know, okay, if I make the ones that are due sooner, I want those to be red. And if I want the ones that are due later, I can select and choose to make that another color. All right, so that is there. So this one is going to be showing you how to use the icon, what is it called? The icon sets, okay? So in this one, they show you that you can have little cute little pictures in between to show you this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you a few examples. So here you can have them have an up and down arrow, a little shapes, whether it could be the up arrow, neutral, or down arrow, things like that. You can even have the traffic lights. Okay, you can have it the traffic lights right here. Okay, or you could do rating. Okay, maybe you want to apply this to see which customer is a frequent customer, and or you could use this to rate your vendors, saying, okay, well, this guy, he we used him to buy some stuff from him, and we see that he did a good job. So you could use stars, you could use a bunch of shapes, anything that you want to do. You could even customize it if you don't like any of these shapes. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what the book says. So the book says to use the 3 traffic lights. Okay? And I already went ahead and clicked upon it. Now, what this condition's saying is, if it falls below 50%, it is red. If it falls above 50%, it is going to be green. Okay? And if it's exactly at 50%, it's going to be yellow. So that is really cool on how those features can work. Now again, if there's something that you actually want in particular, what you can do is you can either go new rule, you can either manage the rules, or you can create a new rule. I mean, you could clear a rule, and maybe there's something that you don't like. But for this instance, I'm going to show you how to manage the rules. So what does it mean by to manage the rules? Okay, so for example, let me go ahead and highlight that section again so that I can go ahead and manage the rules for this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and manage the rules. So here it tells me exactly what I want my condition to be. How do I want them to be measured? I want them to be measured like this, using the icon bar. Okay, so what is my actual condition that I would like to meet? Well, I like to, I'm going to go to edit rule, and it's going to show me this little thing. So it's going to say, well, do I want it less? If I want it green, then I would want to make it at least more than 67%. No, I want it to be 70% or higher. Okay? If I want it to be yellow, it has to be great, or my condition would be, so if it's going to be 70%, it's going to be green. If it falls below 50%, then it's going to be red. Okay, so that's the condition that I'm applying. And I'm going to click OK. Now that's obviously what it's already set as. So if I were to say it has to be 100% to be green, and if it's not and it's 0, then you're going to leave it to be red. And you can actually change this if you want this icon. If not, you don't have to, but I'm going to make it red. And I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of this one. So I'm going to have no color here. All right. So my only thing is if it's 100%, it's green. If it's not 100%, it's going to be red. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And what I noticed is that if I were to save this and click OK again, I notice that every single thing is going to be red except, wow, I don't know why this 75% thinks it's 100%. But as you can see, it changed. Everything is going to be, so let's go ahead and change that to 100%. So now that should be green. Okay, I can go ahead and manipulate the information. So if I wanted this to be 100%, there it's green. Okay, so cool, huh? All right, so those are the 3 key features that the book chapter 4 does allow you to explore. However, if you'd like, you're more than welcome to explore any other key features. All right. So that is conditional formatting. Okay. Now the last thing I do want to touch upon is going to be how to format each cell the way that you want it. So as you can see, these are in percentages. Okay. As you can see, these are also in percentages. And then this one is just a regular number. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new sheet on here just so that I can be able to show you what you can do when it comes to formatting your numbers. So here on the home page, you're going to have this little group called numbers. This is very important that you need to know and use when it comes to formatting your cells in Excel, especially when you're doing accounting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just put a random number in here. And just a bunch of random numbers, okay? Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bigger so you guys can be able to see a little better. Okay, that's too big. Okay, so there you go, okay? Now, as you can see, I just put in a bunch of random numbers in here, okay? Now, how this is going to work is understanding the difference between the different types of formatting that you can see up here. As you can see here, you have the $sign. That is going to be considered accounting, okay? This is where your $sign is going to be left aligned, and it's going to apply the comma, and it's also going to apply the cents that you have, okay? The next one that you're going to see is, I'm going to go ahead and make this one currency. If I were to make this currency, as you can see, the numbers did not change. The only thing that changed was a $sign is just added into the cell. And that is the key difference between currency and accounting. So again, let me go ahead and make a note here so you know exactly which one is which. So this is the accounting format. This one is currency. All right. This is based on how you visually want to look at your data. Now, I prefer to use the accounting just because sometimes when you do accounting, at least everything is aligned and you don't mistaken that dollar sign as part of your number. But for currency, right, if you're just looking at a regular chart and you need to know what it's measured in, boom, right there. You can go ahead and use currency to say, okay, it's meant in dollars. Now, what you also can do is if you don't actually like the dollar sign at all, but you want the cents to be applied, you can use what's called comma style. And that's going to create the visual effect of accounting and currency, except without the dollar sign. So that is what comma style is. Okay? And those are pretty much what you would normally would see. Now I'm going to go ahead and enter information. Another window here and another window here. So let's say I want 25% and 0.25%. Okay, so another thing that, as you can see, is that now that it's, when we enter in new materials, it's starting to apply what you had previously before that, okay? And then again, you can either highlight all of them and change the style all at once, or you want to continue looking at it visually. So for this example, I want to show you the percentage method, okay? So again, when we saw those formulas and stuff, when we saw the data table, they were in percentages. So I'm going to show you percentage, okay? All right, this is percentage. Now, notice in the very beginning, I had 25. What Excel does is if you have data that's already entered into the cell and you change it to percentage, what it does is it takes 25 and it multiplies it by 100% in order to convert it into 100% the percent. But I don't want 2,500%. I just want 25%. So you would have to re-enter the information again. Now, if you already know this ahead of time or are used to entering stuff into Excel and knowing that idea or that concept, then all you need to do is, put a 0.25. And if I were to select my percentage method, my percentage style, it will automatically convert it to 25%. Okay, so again, it's going to take my 0.25 and it's going to multiply by 100 in order to convert it into a percentage. Okay, so that's just a key feature, but also just to make sure that you're aware when you're entering in data. Okay. Lastly is if you're dealing with whole numbers and decimals. So for example, right here, 215 is 100% a whole number. How can I tell? If I go down here, I have my decimal feature. I can move my decimal to the left or I can move my decimal to the right. Now if I move it to the left, I gotta be in the active cell. If I move my decimal to the left, it's going to increase the value of showing how many decimals there are. Okay? And then if I were to decrease it, so as you can see, this is 2521.5. If I decrease it, it's going to automatically round my number. Yes, it's going to round it up. Now, if I wanted to, if I'm doing a formula, let's say I do 1/3, right? It's going to show me all my numbers, but I don't want that to show up on my paper. I want to decrease the value, so I only see 2 numbers after the decimal point. And again, so if I were to do that, that's what happens when you do that. All right. So that is basically the most that you would widely use as far as formatting cells. But there are other things too when you open up the format cells dialog box. You're going to see that you can actually do a lot of things to the actual information that you type in as far as the information. So again, for anything that you type in or anything number per se, it could be, you can manipulate and change how it looks on the outside. Okay, so for general, it's basically general is meant to use for text, for regular text. Okay, general will appear, there will be nothing applied to it. So it's going to be whatever you type in is whatever it's going to reflect. Okay, number is it's pretty straightforward, right? If you're typing a regular number in the cell itself, it's just going to appear as a number. Nothing too complicated about that. We looked at currency. Okay, we looked at if you do currency, what it does, it adds the dollar sign into the cell. Accounting puts the dollar sign left align. You can also change dates. Maybe you like the standard, the standard date to look like this, where it goes the month / the date / the year. You can format it to say, I just want the year and the day right here. Or you can do like part number, part text. There's a lot of ways you can actually look at this. Maybe you want the full date in there, like that, March 14th. I want the full date in there. So there's a lot of things that you can do when you're dealing with date. Same thing with time. Do you want minutes? Do you want hours? Do you want seconds? Okay. Do you want AM and PM in there? Okay. Percentage we already went through. Fractions. Do you want fractions to appear? Okay. Or do you want the decimal portion of the fraction? So everything else like that is going to be entered in things like that. Now, the book actually shows you, let's say you're entering a phone number. You're actually going to go into special, and it's going to give you a few options on what you want to do. You could do Social Security, so it's going to, every time you type in a number in there, it's going to automatically format it as a Social Security number. If you want a phone number, right, you can select phone number, and what happens is it's going to do the standard, so for example, I'm going to type in, let me see, an area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just type in 10 numbers in there. What's going to happen is it's going to reformat it with the area code in parentheses. So instead of typing it manually, open parentheses, area code, dash, or dash, things like that, instead of actually physically typing it in for you, you can go ahead and format it, and it will change it to exactly how you want to see it. So for example, I'm going to do a Social Security number in here. Wait, hold on, let me see, is that right? Let me see, 3, 2, okay, so that's my Social Security number, right? A random one, not my real one. But if I were to change the format of that cell, okay, so I go to Format Cells, and if I were to go to Special, and let's say I do Social Security number, it's going to format it exactly how a Social Security number is supposed to look at. 3 digits, 2 digits, 4 digits. So that is really cool about what you can do with features like that. For example, most common things that are already preset is, let's say you actually put in 6/28. It's going to automatically format a date for you, okay? And that's the difference when you do that, and let's say you do an actual formula, 6 divided by 28. Then you're going to get a decimal point, okay? But let's say I don't like this date. You can go ahead and format it and say, I want the full date on there. So let me see, go to date, and I want the full date with the year and time, and I want it to be spelled out. So like this, okay? And here we go. I formatted it that way. All right. If you were to do the shortcut, right? The control semicolon, it's going to automatically associate the very basic standardized date for you. It's going to give you the date / month / year. Okay. Same thing with time. Time is going to apply the time, the minutes, and the hours, and it's also going to allow you to have the AM and PM feature. So these are preset ones that are already standardized. Now you can go back and fix them, but that's if you're doing the shortcut. Okay. So that is what formatting cells, and the most important that I want you to recognize is going to be the difference between accounting, currency, and comma style. Okay? These are the most important ones I want you to know. And it's good to know the difference, okay? Again, it's based on what you like and your preference, but it's definitely important to know what the difference are between them when you're toggling here. And the shortcut, this is actually meant for accounting. Okay, this little section right here, because obviously the first one is accounting. So this bar right here is set for specifically accounting, to use Excel for accounting. Okay, so you have you have 2 out of the 3 styles. Okay, and you have the decimals here as well, and the percentage. All right. So I believe that is it for looking at conditionals. We looked at accounting, we looked at formatting cells, and how to copy formats in there. All right, so that was chapter 4 for you. Tomorrow, again, we're going to probably be using this sheet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create exercises for you to manipulate the information for me. So we will be using a preset file that you should have downloaded already onto your computer. We're just going to be changing how I want it to look. All right. So other than that, that was chapter 4 for you guys. Do you guys have any questions that we've learned so far?